What's going on, everybody? Matthew back again, this time for a movie review. Last night I watched Creed 2 for the first time. I know I'm behind on that, but I finally got around to watching it, and I'm just going to give my thoughts on it. The first thing I want to talk about is the cinematography. There's one shot in particular that stands out to me, and it was the shot where Rocky is in the hospital. I think he's trying to decide whether or not to call his son, and the director chose to shoot through this opening in the hospital wall, which perfectly framed Rocky in the shot. And the director did this all throughout the movie, which I very much liked. The acting, very good across the board. The standout to me was Dolph Lundgren and the guy who played his son. The credits said his name was Florian Big Nasty Munteanu. I assume he's an actual boxer in real life, given the Big Nasty title. But he stood out to me because I don't know if he's ever acted before, but he was very good in this movie. There's a scene in particular between him and his father after they've had dinner with all these people that abandoned his father after he lost to Rocky back in the 80s. And he's telling his father that they don't owe them anything and that they all left him and that he doesn't even know his mother because she left both of them after he lost. That scene was very, very good for both of those actors. Um, the writing also very good. I have no problem at all with the writing. The pace I thought was very good because you start with the perspective of the Dragos, which I really liked, to go ahead and give the audience um, their experience, what they're going through, and what their life is now like after Ivan Drago lost the fight with Rocky. Um, and then we jump straight to the championship fight between Adonis Creed and the champion at that time, who was the guy he fought in the first movie at the training center when he got knocked out. He obviously wins that fight, and then we have some character development, and then obviously we have the first fight between Drago and Creed, where Creed loses, and then from there more and more character development, especially for Creed, who his fiance says that he doesn't care about anything, not even her at that time because his loss. So when you're not watching a fight, you're getting very, very good character development. The next note I have here is great decision to humanize Ivan Drago and his son. I love that Victor Drago, Ivan's son, isn't a bad guy. He's just a guy that wants to reclaim respect for his name and also respect from his mother who left him and his father. I really, really respect the decision to have the baby deaf. I honestly did not think that was going to happen. When they're in the hospital waiting to see if the baby can hear, I was very sure that lines would start to appear on that monitor to show that the baby could hear fine and that Adonis and his wife, or his fiance, would start smiling and hugging, but that never happened. They kept the baby deaf. And I respect that decision a lot because it's a very movie thing to have it where they drag it out where you think the baby's going to be deaf and then it's not deaf and everybody's happy. But no, they kept the baby deaf, kept the realism, which I very much liked. And you have that scene where Rocky tells Adonis, you need to prepare yourself for if the baby can't hear. And Adonis says that I can't think that way. And Rocky says, well, maybe you should go ahead and prepare yourself for that. That stuff I very much liked. It was very real, and I respected that a lot. Let's go ahead and get to the ending. I love the ending because Ivan throws in the towel. recalling what Rocky wishes he had done. I love this because it shows that Ivan cares more for his son than for their legacy. This whole movie, you hear both of them talk about their legacy and how they need to win back their pride and their respect. And then at the end of the movie, you see that it's not all about that like they thought. Ivan just wanted his son to be all right because he cares for him. And then you see at the end both of them running rather than just the son. And with Ivan in the truck, you have both of them running side by side, father and son. I very, very much like that. That's the best thing that this movie does, is that it humanizes the Dragos. This movie could have made Victor just a big dick, just someone who wants to punish people because he's just a bad guy. But I mean, those scenes are probably the best scenes in the movie between Ivan and his son. That's the reason why Rocky 1 and Rocky 2 are my favorite. Rocky 2 is my favorite, but those are my favorite of the whole franchise, because the villain isn't a villain. It's just Apollo Creed, who's just a guy that wants to win, and that's it. He's a good guy, but he's very, very competitive, and you can respect that. Just like I can respect Victor wanting to win his family pride back and his respect. The next note I have is something that I've never seen in a Rocky movie, at least not to this extent, which is a coaching battle between Rocky and Ivan. I did not see that coming at all. Obviously, I didn't think they were going to fight because they're both way too old. But to have them still kind of have a battle of the minds, with Rocky telling Adonis to watch the right, I think it was the right hook, and then go low after the right hook. And then you have Ivan telling his son to bait him with the right hook so that he could go for a higher shot. All of that stuff was very, very cool. It was cool to watch Ivan and Rocky look at each other from the corner as Adonis and Victor go at it in the ring. All that was very good. So those are all of my positives. I'm going to go ahead and get into my negatives. I don't have very many, but my first one is, I have here, no way Rocky and Creed didn't hear about the Drago press conference. So I think Rocky, Adonis, and his fiance are in Philly, and Ivan is at Rocky's restaurant where Rocky and Ivan talk. Meanwhile, Adonis is eating dinner with his wife, and he watches on the TV over the bar this press conference for the Dragos. Now, I'm not sure at this moment if the press conference is live. I think it was recorded, but with technology we have today, there's no way that Adonis wouldn't have heard of the man that killed his dad having a press conference about his son wanting to fight Adonis. There's just no way that it would have taken all the way till nighttime for him to hear about that. The next negative I have is that I wish the fight organizer, the guy at the press conference with the Dragos, I wish he came off as kind of a dick when he was talking to Adonis at Adonis's fiance's performance where she's singing. I wish he would I would have preferred that he was just someone that loved boxing and wanted to see a good fight. Now that's there, but the character himself, he was kind of, you could tell he didn't give a damn about disrespecting Adonis by bringing up his father's death and all that stuff. I would have preferred if he wasn't such a dick. But let's see, the next negative. Now this, Rocky Balboa, Rocky 6, is all about Rocky trying to mend his relationship with his son. And by the end of that movie, him and his son have a good relationship. Now, obviously I've seen Creed, the first Creed. I can't remember what Rocky says about his relationship with his son. But I'm watching Creed 2, and him and his son haven't talked to each other in years. And Rocky hasn't even ever seen his grandson, who by this time was like 5. And I could not remember why Rocky wouldn't have ever seen his grandson. I guess I need to go back and watch Creed. But, maybe if it's explained in Creed, then this isn't really a fair negative. But I could not remember why Rocky and his son wouldn't get along, especially after Rocky 6. My final negative, and this one I'm really not going to count against the movie. Max Kellerman, something about his voice, it just really bothers me. I don't really know. Maybe I've watched him too much on ESPN. He just has an annoying voice. And his voice is in this movie a lot. You hear it on the TV, and you hear his voice all throughout the final fight between Victor and Adonis. I just really don't like his voice. But those are all my negatives. This movie is very good. It's obviously Creed 2, but it's also kind of a sequel to Rocky 4, and a very, very good sequel. Like I said, the best thing this movie did was humanize Ivan Drago and his son, and really makes Rocky 4 even better. Rocky 4 is known for being this kind of probably the most unrealistic of all the Rocky movies, because Rocky ends the Cold War or whatever. But this movie really gave these characters, it really fleshed out Ivan. And I really, really like that. It kind of makes me want to go back and watch Rocky 4. But this movie is definitely better than Rocky 4. This movie jumps up. Man, this is probably in my top 3. I mean, Rocky 2 is always going to be my favorite of the Rocky franchise. But this is probably, Creed 2 is probably in my top 3 of the Rocky franchise. I can't think of anything else I want to say, but I'm going to give this movie, let me look at my negatives again real quick. I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. All of my negatives to me equal out to just minus 1 point. Yeah, just it's only the Rocky, or I mean the Drago press conference, and the fight organizer, which is a small thing, and the Rocky relationship with his son, which again might not be a problem. Maybe in the first Creed he explains what happened. I just can't remember. But I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, sorry I spoiled it, but it's been out for a very long time. But yeah, 9 out of 10. Those are my thoughts on Creed 2. Let me know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. Please like this video. Please subscribe. And we'll catch you next time. Have a good one.